In today's video, we're going to talk about the difference between the keyboard grid view and the typing view in ProLoco to Go. Hi, I'm Jack with Special Needs Tools and Tips. And today I'd like to talk to you about a tip in ProLoco to Go that I've recently come across that I think is going to be a game changer for me, and maybe it'll help you as well. And some background, I have a special needs young adult son, Jake, who uses ProLoco to Go to communicate, and he does pretty well with it. He's progressing along. He's got a pretty complex grid of multiple pages that he can go through, but he likes to use also the keyboard grid to just type words out and put together sentences that way. Of course, his sentence structure understanding is not very good, and it's difficult to navigate this, and he has some difficulty knowing what to go to next. And the trick is, like many people with Angelman syndrome or other conditions, his receptive understanding of words is better than what he can put together. Like, he can read a lot of words. So I was reading and doing some research, and I heard about the predictive mode within ProLoco to Go in the keyboard. And that's not how mine was working. So I did a little more research, and I figured out that there's a tool I hadn't really been using called Typing View. And that is where this predictive word option will come in. So let me show you a little bit about what I'm talking about. Now, looking at Jake's ProLoco to Go screen, as you can see, it is pretty full grid. But what he does like to do a lot of is hit the keyboard button, or down at the bottom, and he will start typing in things that he can't find. And he can't spell a lot of the words that he knows. Looking at the different things and doing some research, I found that if you go down to the bottom left in your 4 little square boxes there, the different options, there's a typing screen. If I click on that, here's a typing window. And if I start to type something in, I notice that these words here change to do some prediction. And that would allow him to pick what he wants. I want to know something else. So I thought, well, this is great, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get him to come into these 4 boxes and do that option. He's so used to the grid view here. So I looked a little farther into it and thought, there's got to be a way I can have that be the default thing that he goes to for this keyboard button. And there is. So to get to that, if you go to the gear option in the bottom right here, tap on that, you can go to toolbars in the middle and see keyboard button right now is on grid keyboard. So if I tap on that, I have an option to switch to the typing view. And so that will now be the default for the keyboard button. That's great. So now if I come out of here and I click on the keyboard button, I get to this predictive typing option. And what's nice about this as well, as they type something in, you have the option to speak it directly. If I tap the speak button over on the right,
I want to know.
I want to know. And you can even stop it. If they've got a long sentence going on, you can stop, which is nice sometimes. If you're like me, you've definitely heard them have them put in a long sentence and keep repeating it over and over. You also have the option to click the insert button and place the symbols of the sentence up into the top structure, and that is now there for them to then navigate to another part of the screen to add something from one of the buttons as well. Okay, so I like this. I'm getting into this, and I think he could use this predictive ability to do more words, but it seems a little limited. So I dig a little farther, and I find that if I go back to my home tab and go into the gear for options again, and moving out of interaction, I can go up here in the options section, appearance, vocabulary, speech, language, grammar, and prediction. Clicking on prediction, there are options here. You can have prediction on or off. Auto spacing means that it'll add a space after each word that you tap. That's something I'll come back to. Learning, I'm not quite sure what that means, but I've got that set at all words because that sounds good. Now, the important thing I see is max suggestion. So that by default goes to 4, and that is going to control how many suggested words are put out there to choose from. And I know Jake's a good scanner and he reads pretty well, so 4 seems kind of limited to me. And looking here, you can go all the way up to 10, or I like this one at the bottom, as many as fit. So I want to see as many word options thrown out there for him to choose from as possible. So I like that. And then button size, small, so you can adjust your sizing of it. I'm okay with it in the default that it has been, but you may not be. Suggestion order is defaults to alphabetical, but to me, likelihood, the likelihood of the word being used in the structure he's building seems a better sorting option. So I'm going to go with that. And I also like the multi-word prediction, so that combines some words into one option he can choose. So now that I have those choices made and I go to the keyboard, now I've got a bunch of different words down here, a larger black row, and then there's some smaller ones below that as well. Let me hit the clear button to clear what I have, and I'm back to my default. And these are a lot of good words to start a sentence with. So Jake might say, choose I, and then choose want to go to the, and then if I just type ST, I'm going to get store, and maybe type W, and then he might get with Dad. And then he can quickly say that.
I want to go to the store with Dad.
Now, doing it this way gives him a quicker way to scan and choose the words he wants without having to come up with all that and navigate around to the different pages. So I feel pretty strongly that this is going to be something that he, given a little time, is going to kind of thrive with and be able to start using this more as a tool to communicate. So keep your fingers crossed. I'm going to be working with him on this, and I hope that might be something that someone out there can use as well. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, anything else that you're struggling with in ProLoco to Go that you want to learn about or you need help with, because I'm glad to help. Hey, if you like this kind of content, please be sure to like and subscribe so that I can let you know when I have something else to share. And remember, special needs parents, you're not alone. Thanks.